Padmini Nayagam, Disaster Law Advisor at the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC. Padmini, thank you so much for making the time to speak with us. Help us understand, what is disaster law and what is its role in the immediate aftermath of large-scale disasters like the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami?
Thank you for having me. So disaster law refers to the legal framework, policies, and guidelines that govern disaster risk reduction, DRR, preparedness, response, and recovery. It ensures clear roles, responsibilities, and coordination among governments, humanitarian actors, and communities. Disaster law aims to minimize the impact of disasters by strengthening prevention, building resilience, and facilitating timely and effective responses. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami highlighted critical gaps such as uncoordinated relief efforts, inadequate customs processes, and the influx of inappropriate aid. The challenges underscored the urgent need for legal frameworks to manage disaster risk and international response effectively.
You mentioned the gaps. What legal reforms have been implemented since 2004 to address these gaps?
So we've come a long way in terms of disaster law. The IFRC, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, led the development of the International Disaster Response Law Guidelines in 2007, which have since influenced legal reforms across the region. Key developments since then include the establishment of the ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response, AADMER, which was established in 2005. It fostering regional cooperation and creating a cornerstone for disaster governance in Southeast Asia. Additionally, countries like Indonesia that was severely severely impacted by the tsunami have since developed some of the world's most advanced disaster risk management systems, supported by robust legal and policy framework. And they've also, since then, through their disaster management law of 2007, established a National Disaster Management Authority, BNPB, and also decentralized disaster response units at the local level. Other countries in Southeast Asia, like the Philippines, have institutionalized community-level preparedness through its Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010, which emphasizes early warning systems and community drills. However, despite these efforts, challenges still remain in reaching remote coastal communities with timely alert.
You mentioned these challenges that remain. What are the challenges that governments, humanitarian organizations, and regional bodies in advocating and implementing disaster law reforms, what are they facing?
One of the key challenges is the need to harmonize legal frameworks across countries with diverse capacities and vulnerabilities. While instruments like the AADMER have fostered regional cooperation, gaps still remain in aligning national laws with regional and international standards. Another challenge that organizations and governments face is in managing the increasing frequency and intensity of disasters due to climate change. This demands laws that integrate disaster risk reduction and climate adaptation. But progress in this front has still been very uneven. Many legal frameworks still operate in silos.
How have ASEAN countries improved their preparedness and response to tsunamis in the past 2 decades? Is there a coordinated effort within the bloc to standardize disaster response?
So ASEAN as a bloc, as a regional organization, has made significant strides in disaster law, primarily through the AADMER. This agreement has enabled member states to strengthen cooperation and improve disaster preparedness. One notable example is the role of the ASEAN Coordinating Center for Humanitarian Assistance, the AHA Center, during the Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, where it effectively mobilized regional support. The AHA Center has been instrumental in coordinating large-scale disaster responses in this region, and it has set an example for other regions to follow.
We know Malaysia is taking over as the chair of ASEAN next year. What key priorities does the IFRC have for its coordination with ASEAN to strengthen regional disaster law and preparedness?
So in terms of Malaysia being the chair of ASEAN for 2025, the IFRC works very closely with the ASEAN Secretariat, and Malaysia as chair next year, we are hopeful that they can play a part in spearheading efforts to review and enhance the AADMER to ensure it addresses emerging risks such as climate change-induced disasters and promote more effective disaster law implementation across all 10 member states. Malaysia can also lead capacity building initiatives focusing on disaster law education and training for both policymakers as well as local communities. This includes promoting the integration of disaster risk reduction into national legal framework and ensuring consistency across all ASEAN member states. Malaysia can also advocate for inclusion of marginalized groups in disaster risk planning, particularly in areas relating to early warning systems, evacuation protocols, and recovery efforts. This can ensure that disaster laws are both comprehensive and accessible to all.
Thank you, Padmini, for sharing your insights with us. That was Padmini Nayagam, Disaster Law Advisor at the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies.